Hi Sagittarius, this is your astrological prediction for July 2014 with me, Lada from Astrolada.com, where you can find out your ascendant sign. Make sure you check your ascendant sign. It's astrologically your most tangible one. At my birth chart calculator, you can find it if you know your exact time of birth, and go to the planetary detail table and you'll see the ascendant sign, and make sure you at least listen to it. So what happens if you have your sun, ascendant or moon in Sagittarius? The big event this month in July is that Jupiter, your ruler, the planet which represents you, is changing from one sign to another. It means there will be like a big shift of refocus of the energy of Sagittarius. And for a lot of you Sagittarius, now, especially if your ascendant is Sagittarius, Jupiter rules your whole horoscope. And Jupiter has been in the 8th house for the past 12 months. And this is the house of maybe some of you learn to rely on their partner financially. Maybe some of you could benefit from others financially. Or maybe some of you make some kind of financial involvements with others, so got involved with banks or other kind of people's resources. 8th house also rules the psychological, the inner demons a person has. So some of you might have been fighting with those inner demons and trying to overcome them. Some of you had a lot of financial issues to solve because it's a financial chart. It's a financial house, the 8th house as well. There are different things that the focus was for you till now, but now Jupiter is moving into your 9th house, which is like 8th house is almost like the gates of Hades. The 8th house is a more darker house. 8th house is a psychologically complicated house. It's a house of more fears. It's the house of more faulty things. It's the house of the battle. There might have been more battles going on in your lives as well. And it has some positive sides as well. The 12th house is like maybe receiving support from another person, or maybe getting access to others' resources. So if you're working in banking or with other people's resources and assets, maybe you had a bit more successful year. But when Jupiter goes into the 9th house, because most other things that Jupiter 8th house are more complex, they're more psychological. And when Jupiter goes into your 9th house, for the next 12 months, you have a great opportunity of coming before you, because 9th house, like 8th house, is the house of the devil, the battleground, the compulsive behaviors, the hidden behaviors, the addictive behaviors, the manipulative behaviors. But when Jupiter moves into the 9th house, it's like going from the gates of Hades into heaven, because 9th house is the house of God. So you've gone through your testing in Hades, you know. Jupiter was your Jupiter. You were in the 8th house, dealing with more darker issues, with more intense, more compulsive issues maybe as well, or maybe more manipulative or whatever. And now, or whatever, some dark stuff, some more difficult things. But when Jupiter goes into a 9th house of God, you're in your own waters now. You're where you feel best. You all of a sudden get more faith. Starting from July onwards, you might not immediately feel it. For some of you, might take 2-3 months, 4-5 months into the transit to start feeling more inspired, to start feeling more full of faith and meaning. Jupiter there will make you see the bigger picture. Jupiter becomes there like the teacher, the guru, who sees all the tribulations and trials you've been passing through the past months or year or two or years. They start fitting together into the puzzle, and you see the picture from above and you see, I understand why this happened. I realized I had to go through this pain. I realized that actually this brought me to this place right now here, and I've learned those lessons, and now I can teach others. 9th house is the house of the teacher. So all of a sudden, all the darkness you've experienced, so difficult things that you've experienced in the past, you might have a chance now to teach them to others, to bring them out and to make them your own, and this wisdom to give it to the world somehow. Or if you are in any kind of professions, which is counseling, advising, or business advising, or giving advice to people, your insight becomes bigger, your intuition grows 10-time fold, because it's as if you don't look at the trees, you look at the forest now. If till now you've been looking at the trees and wondering why and how it's going to fit together, the more Jupiter goes into your 9th house, the more you start seeing the forest for the trees, from the trees, and you start making sense, and you start feeling more meaningful. And some of you might discover a new spirituality, a new belief system, a new meaning in their life, which puts them on the right path, which puts them, and no spirituality or religion is the only right one, but is the right one for you right now. There are different religions and spiritual systems for people who are different levels of growth and people with different temperaments, and you will become more open-minded in regards to those things and accepting more of other cultures, of other beliefs, of other points of view. You become a bit of a more, your consciousness expands when Jupiter is in the 9th house, you know, and Sagittarius. And people, even if you're not a spiritual person, if you're a spiritual person already, you'll get into learning much more about spiritual themes and topics. You'll get into meeting more cultured and spiritual people. 9th house is also culture. You might, literature, good music, refined, intelligent people, erudite people, well-educated people, culturally diverse people than you. You have a lot, you can benefit from such things, literally pursuits of cultural interactions with foreigners, or travels abroad as well. Well, Jupiter is in the 9th house often happens, or higher education. 9th house rules higher education, universities. A lot of people, when Jupiter goes into their 9th house, start learning something which puts them on the right path, which will later help them with their career. With some course, if you're thinking about improving your career, in the next 12 months you have a chance to study something, or to be under the, you know, tutelage of someone, or find a teacher, or find a guru, or find a counselor, a mentor from a career which really brings your knowledge and skills a few notches up, and which later after that will be very helpful for you in your career and in your worldly actions. And also you might meet a great advisor while Jupiter is in the 9th house. People, now advice that comes to you can be very beneficial, or you might find a great astrologer, or a great guru, or a great advisor at work, or a great teacher some way, you know. Or maybe you can be just watching TV and your higher self is the 9th house. You might send you a message through some TV program where someone mentions that they're starting to study something, or that they've gone to a new country and discovered their passion there, or something else. You can receive some information from your higher self in very different ways. You don't know how, from a child, from a person, from TV, from a book, from a teacher, from a course, which all of a sudden anchors you on your dharmic path. And dharma is the path which is the one that brings most joy to you. Not necessarily the most money, but the most abundance of the soul, the most joy, the one that makes you feel most secure and healthy and happy, the most inspired. So if you're a banker but your dharma is to be a gardener, Jupiter now can bring you this kind of enlightening moment of, this is what I want to do, this is who I am, and this is what will bring me most happiness. Or maybe you're a teacher and all of a sudden you realize that you want to be a banker, you know. And when Jupiter transits the 9th house, you have more such insightful moments which you can trust. Or maybe an advisor will come and tell you, you'll be great as this or that. Listen to those advices for the next 12 months, because they'll be beneficial and helpful for you. Or exchanges with foreigners, or traveling foreign places can bring even more wealth and more growth into your life, and can bring more expansion into your life. And 9th house in ancient astrology rules marriage, but not like you meeting someone, but more like committing on a path, of mutual goal together with someone. So for some of you it might be deepening of marriage commitments, or meeting more like or if you meet someone, it will be more of a soulmate type of nature, someone that you have mutual goals with together, someone that you have mutual purpose together with, because 9th house rules the purpose, the meaning of the life. And Jupiter, first of all, can help you find out your own meaning and bring you closer on your purpose in life, and make you feel more meaningful when it's in the 9th house, through different ways, through different people, teachers, reading, expanding your mind, starting on a new course, whatever. Or Jupiter can bring a person with whom you have a purpose in life, and who will be there for a long time. You know, for instance, for me, I think my teacher appeared when Jupiter transited my 9th house. When my first astrology teacher appeared, and thanks to her now I'm here. You know, important people that you have dharma to create with, and that you have, you know, a common goal together to create with, and even 12 years later, no, 10 years later, we're still working together and cooperating. So something like that can happen to you. Stay tuned, learn, open, travel. All communicate with intelligent people. All those will be a great source of learning and expansion and growth for you. But overall, basically, most Sagittarius, particularly in July, only those early born Sagittarius, only the November born Sagittarius will feel immediately this the expansion of Jupiter. They will feel it from July and August. New opportunities coming to them in career, in regards to what they're supposed to do in their life, in regards to certain projects in life, expansion and growth in their life, positivity, meaning, connecting to source, feeling happier, feeling more joyful, finding the right path. These are all words of Jupiter. And Jupiter will bring them to all Sagittarius little by little. But first of all, in July and August, those who are born in November Sagittarius, so those who have their moon or ascendant in Sagittarius from 0 to around 4 or 5 degrees. And the next thing that is happening for you Sagittarius is that Saturn is starting to move direct in your sign. Sorry, in the 12th house for Sagittarius. And the 12th house rules expenses and rules paying off karma from the past. So when Saturn starts moving forwards, it starts resolving, because when it was moving backwards, it was creating more complications there, maybe more expenses, maybe more feeling a bit blocked to move forwards. But when it starts moving forwards now, you know, there might be some entanglement of complex situations in regards to investments. For instance, one of my friends is Sagittarius ascendant, Saturn in the 12th house, started moving backwards, and some investment she made, she lost on them, or the investment, or there were complications with the partnerships and those long-term investments and money. They felt like she lost a lot of money. But when Saturn starts moving forwards again, there will be some kind of a positive resolution or completion of certain long-term investments you've made, or certain expenses that you've had, or certain karmic debt that you've been paying. And it doesn't have to be financial, maybe a complicated situation that you've been in, maybe having to give more than receiving back, situations of inequality, or situations where you're giving much more than receiving back, and you're finally starting to untangle those little by little. It won't happen immediately, but slowly it will start happening in that direction. So anyway, thank you very much Sagittarius, and I'll see you next month.